Okay, so we were talking about what you would want for. You talked about getting into acting is very lucky. You were very lucky as a student, and your teachers seemed like they were fairly supportive in your careers, But what would you want for your kids if they were interested in acting?
I think they'd have a. If my kids wanted to be actors, they'd have a little bit of a in because their father's an actor, and so I wouldn't feel any urgency to utilize their youth. If I wasn't, I would see some purpose behind if they really felt like it was something they wanted to do. That maybe around 16, I'd allow them to start, checking it out and just kind of monitoring how it goes. But for my kids, I don't think it's. I want them to go through college and then decide. I'm hoping they choose another profession. Really, acting is a strange profession for someone you love, because no matter how much work you do or what your experience is, at a certain age you start to not get jobs, and I hate that concept that experience doesn't equal necessarily work. And so I hope they choose something that has a little bit more rational sort of makeup of it.
What would your advice be for maybe students out there who are interested in going into acting? Like, what would people who don't really have that sort of in but are interested in getting involved in acting, what would your advice for them be?
Well, I think most kids can just go on the internet and find out what their local agencies are, and then call them and say, I'd like to come in, and they usually, I imagine with kids, they'll let them come in and read. Or I'm sure I know out here in Los Angeles and New York, there's classes all over that. Oftentimes that will lead to agencies if it's something they like, and so I think that's the first thing, is just to get an agent and get out in some auditions and.
All right, so is there anything else that you would like to add about your career and as a student going into this profession? Is there anything else you would like to add about that?
Well, I guess I would just add that starting an acting career before I had gotten through college was the reason I would be against it is because you want to be filled with as many stories, as many ideas, as many as much enthusiasm as you can when you enter anything, and when that dies down, you have to either shift how you look at it or shift your area of what you're doing. So I think school is a great thing, obviously, and I think it's something that doesn't directly help you in this business, acting at least, but I think it's more worthwhile than not.
So to wrap up, what would your I'm interested in going into directing and writing and pursuing a creative field, and I just turned 16, and what would your advice for me or anyone else also interested in doing that be?
Well, it sounds like you're doing. My first advice would be to make stuff. That's the great thing about today, is cameras are available and you can make things for cheap. And I think film school is probably a great way to go. From everyone I've spoken to, the best thing about film school is just making the shorts, though. So if you do go to film school, utilize every resource they have and make as much as you can from that. And then figure out how you want to get in. Some people get in kind of through editing, and or some people go through other areas of the crew. But the biggest thing to remember is just that you have to be making stuff. You know, it's like writers have to write, and directors have to just keep directing, keep putting things together and telling stories with their cameras.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that covers everything.
Yeah.
Unless
yeah.
there's anything else Jeremy wants to say or you want to ask about. I think that's great.
I would like to say,
Mhm.
I don't know anything to say. I'm not even sure what we're talking about. No, I do. Children are great. God is weird. And milk is bad for you as you get older. Sometimes. And you have to floss.